start in T-minus 10 seconds.
Yeah, you got me feeling.
3, 2, 1.
Feeling like I'm levitating, sky high, elevating, hot, hot, sunshine. Yeah, I feel alive. Everybody's loving it. I'm just having fun with it. Living like a rock star. Take off like a rocket ship.
The Cal Golden Bears, the Michigan State Spartans, the Alabama Crimson Tide, and the North Carolina Tar Heels. They're all here and ready to take flight in this year's Elevate the Stage Quad Meet. Welcome to ACC Network's coverage of women's gymnastics. We're inside the Probst Arena in Huntsville, Alabama for a showcase of top 25 teams from 3 powerhouse conferences competing together on podium. And hi everybody, I'm Mark Connor along with my fellow Olympian Bridget Sloan. Bridget, here we're late in the regular season. Each of these meets become more and more important, don't they?
They do, and this weekend is a huge opportunity for these teams to put 24 for 24 up on the podium.
Now we're going to see some amazing gymnastics tonight because we have 4 top 25 teams from 3 different conferences, the SEC, ACC, and the Big Ten. Let's start with Cal. They're 6th ranked in the country, and they have a shot. They were last year's NCAA runner-up. They're led by Justin and Elizabeth Howell, and they're spectacular this year, Bridget.
They are, and they are led by none other than Maya Lazan. She's a veteran. She's ranked 6th in the all-around. I mean, she's a competitor. She knows how to do it, and she has a perfect 10 this season, and I have a feeling we'll get to see another from her.
Mike Rowe is the head coach at Michigan State. They finished 8-1 in the Big Ten. They've had 5 really impressive scores. They're ranked in the top 15 on 4 events. Here are their leaders.
None other than junior Nikki Smith, another athlete. She's powerful, but she's graceful, and she just loves to compete. Alongside Gabrielle Stephen, another powerhouse athlete for Michigan State. She's got the talent, she's got the big skills, she's going to take them far.
Alabama has won the national title 6 times, but it's been 15 years. Ashley Johnson is just in her 3rd year there, and she is getting that team to compete on all cylinders here late in the season, Bridget.
And they're led by a little powerhouse duo, Gabby Gladio. Again, these athletes, they live for their school, for these programs. Gabby Gladio knows how to do the big gymnastics, and Lily Hudson. These two are so competitive with each other. They make each other better, and you see it in the competition setting. I see big things for this Alabama team.
Another team on the rise, the North Carolina Tar Heels. They're led by Dana Durrani in her 4th year. They had a big meet last week, and they're ranked in the top 25 on 3 events.
And Lali Dekanoidza in her senior season. You want an athlete to stick, you put in Lali. She loves to compete for her Tar Heels, and this is a big time for her.
All right, it's ACC gymnastics tonight. 4 of the top 25 teams in the country. They'll all be competing on the floor. You're not going to want to miss this high-flying gymnastics from Rocket City. Probst Arena, Mark Connor, along with Bridget Sloan, my fellow Olympian, 4 top 25 teams to competing tonight from 3 different powerhouse conferences. We're glad you've joined us. There's a lot at stake as we get ready to focus on the postseason. Let's take a look at what improving NQS scores means today. Now, the NQS is basically how the teams are ranked going into postseason. It's based on a combination of home and away scores. So you can see at the top line there for Cal, Michigan State, Alabama, and NC are all their scores as they stand right now with their NQS. They have a score to beat, which is basically a lowest home score that they would like to, away score that they would like to replace. So if Cal can score more than 197.05 tonight, they can improve their NQS. If Michigan State can do more than 196.8, they can improve theirs. Alabama has their goal, and so does North Carolina. So as we talked at the top of the show, there is a lot at stake because postseason rankings and where you'll compete in the regionals depends on these last few meets. It's important. There are 4 teams competing here, but you'll see no more than 2 teams competing simultaneously in what we call the double dual quad meet format. Vault and beam will alternate, and bars and floor will alternate. some of the finest gymnasts in the country, and of course, teams that are poised for postseason championships as well. All the conference championships are coming up in a couple of weeks, and Bridget, this really gets to be crunch time in the season.
Absolutely, and this is kind of a little dress rehearsal for that postseason. When we talked to a lot of these coaches, they were excited to get their athletes up on podium and get them in a quad meet before postseason comes.
Now, you mentioned the podium. It's basically like a 3.5-foot riser. It's like a staging system. And why that's important is because all the dynamics of the equipment is a little bit different, and these are the type of podiums they'll compete on in the postseason.
Yes, and Bart, I'll be honest, I loved competing on podium. It makes the landings a little bit nicer. The floor tends to be a little bit bouncier, but that also has the negatives because now these athletes have to hone in on that power, need to stay in bounds. So again, like I mentioned, this is a huge opportunity for them to prove to themselves that postseason, it might be right around the corner, but they're ready.
The teams are so closely ranked these days, it does come down to landings. And on this podium, this riser system, things tend to be a little bit bouncier. So who has the best control on their landings today might make the difference in who walks away with today's championship in the Elevate the Stage meet. In the first rotation, California is going to be on the vault. They're currently 9th in the country on that event. Michigan State will be on the bars. They're 5th. Alabama on the beam. And it's the lowest ranked for floor event for North Carolina. They're only 34th in that event. 4 teams competing 2 at a time. California will open up on the vault. Maddie Williams, who has just been an incredible all-arounder for the Cal Golden Bears. And Amy Doyle for Michigan State will be on the bars.
And Amy over on the right. Head coach Mike Rowe loves having her lead off for this Michigan State team on uneven bars. Beautiful pack salto.
Here's Williams.
And Maddie Williams on that left screen with a huge Yurchenko full. And not the stuck landing we're used to seeing from Amy, but a nice start for Michigan State on uneven bars. This is a blind change, full pirouette into a double tuck. She stuck every single one in warm-ups, had to take a step, but one thing that they're working on is controlled landings, even if you have to take a step.
Alabama will be on the beam. Chloe Lacourcier is their leadoff competitor. That's one of the more crucial performances to get this team off to a good start. And Jessica Naranjo from North Carolina will open up on floor.
Bart, you mentioned how crucial it is to be a leadoff on any event, but on balance beam for Chloe in this Alabama Crimson Tide. Slight balance check there on those jumps.
This has been one of the more inconsistent events this year for the Crimson Tide. It's their lowest of the 4 events in terms of national rankings. Their best is floor.
Again, just a little balance check here and there for Chloe. They're really trying to hone in on the details. Bart, you mentioned this is not one of their better events, but it's an event that they are improving on, and she gets the stick, round off 1.5.
On floor for UNC, Jessica Naranjo. Remember, there's 4 teams competing 2 at a time, and we'll be going back and forth all day long in this double dual quad meet format.
Nice start for UNC. This is a big event for them. Get the energy out. Normally when you start on floor, it's kind of nice because you're amped up. You've got all this excitement. So really nice job for Jessica.
Another important point about these postseason meets is this is how they will contest the conference championships, the regionals, as well as the NCAA championships. So the meet flow in this double, dual, quad format is a little bit different than the regular season dual meet, isn't it?
It is, but it's a really nice opportunity to kind of be able to stay in your bubble, put your blinders on, and focus on your team.
Ella Cesario now for Cal on vault.
Yurchenko full. It's a 9.95 start value. You know, we talk so much about risk versus reward, and sometimes doing the 10-0 start values are actually not the way to do it.
Gabby Stephen now second up for Michigan State on bars. Amy Doyle led them off with a 9.75.
Gabby is a beautiful bar swinger, gorgeous lines. She loves being in this second spot.
Oh, nice.
Wow. Just a huge
How do you like
dismount.
me now?
Falling from the sky, truly.
Well done. Back to beam now, Ryan Fuller. Chloe Lacourcier led them off with a 9.85. You can follow the scores for all the gymnasts on the right side of your screen in our scoring tower.
Nice connection there. Front aerial to split jump. Acro series handspring layout step out. So aggressive to that finish.
Floor score just came in for UNC. For Naranjo is a 9.8. Claire Stipik is up now in the second spot for the Tar Heels.
And just the dismount for Ryan. She had a 9.8 on Friday. And a nice stuck landing. Over to floor. Claire is coming after that 9.8, like you mentioned, Bart. That's a really nice start for UNC on this event. We want to see scores build. So when we start at that 9.8, we would love to see every score just improve a little bit, and a nice double tuck right to that finish.
Claire Stipik, transfer from Kentucky. She's a junior out of Heartland, Wisconsin. Maya Wiley will be set to go now for Cal on the vault. Ella Cesario had a 9.75, and Maddie Williams led them off over there with a 9.775.
Nice 10-0 start value for Cal over on vault. Would love to see them break into that 9.8 range.
You mentioned the judges. There are 2 judges per event here. They average the score of the 2 judges for their final score. A little bit different than the postseason judging. We'll talk more about that later.
And this final pass, just a nice finish. Great control on the landings. Like I mentioned, Claire coming after that 9.8. The scores are intended to build. So UNC's in a really good spot for the rest of their lineup.
Speaking of being in a good spot, Alabama has a 9.85 for LaCourcier on beam, and Ryan Fuller a 9.9 in the second spot. That brings up Rachel Rybicki and Olivia Zarmani for Michigan State on bars after Gabby Stephen had a 9.8. Oh!
And a mistake. It looked like she actually got her grips too far over the bar and couldn't get that swing back. But over to beam for Rachel. She had some problems with this on Friday. Handspring layout, step out, no problems today. Slight balance check there. You saw that arm swing. Will be a deduction. And the judges are looking for deduction. So the best thing these athletes can do is just do every skill to their best ability.
Back over to the bars, Olivia Zarmani struggling. She got back up on the bar after her fall, and now hit her feet on that sting mat. So this is a really important point now. We can talk about the way scoring works here. There's 6 gymnasts compete on each event for each team. You're going to count just the best 5 of those 6 scores towards the team total. So if there is one mistake, you can drop it, but more than one, you're going to have to count a low score, and that could be devastating.
It could be, but man, Alabama is making it known that beam, they want to be good on all 4 events. The one thing they do well is improve every weekend.
JoJo Valahovic now, the freshman out of Sagamore Hills, Ohio. What a freshman year she is having.
First pass for JoJo. Tuck full in. She did go out of bounds, so you saw that heel go over the white line. That is a neutral deduction, automatic 110.
And MJ Frazier for Cal on vault with a double twister.
Huge Yurchenko double twist. So impressive.
It's kind of crazy with all this stuff going on, but if you're actually in the arena, this is what you're seeing. You're seeing a floor routine and then a vault and then a bars and a beam, and that's what the experience is like for you if you are in the arena. Our goal is to try to make that experience what you also experience at home.
Nice extension that hits that 180-degree split. Really nice routine, really, well, the biggest mistake came on this first pass. It's a round off back handspring, tuck full in, and she just gets a little over-rotated, and unfortunately that heel did go over the white line.
You're allowed to step on the line, but no part of the foot can be out over the line or you'll incur another 1/10 of a point deduction. Back to beam. Rybicki had a 9.8, so right now Alabama's averaging 9.85s over there. Gabby Ladani.
Good connection in that front area, the split jump.
Important routine for Michigan State on bars now. Nikki Smith is up after Olivia Zarmani scored only 8.775. That's the score they'll hope to drop.
And Nikki is a smooth bar swinger, great transition to the low bar. Nice cast handstand, little balance break and body break in that cast handstand, but the dismount, nice job, especially coming after a fall. That's a big routine. Back to beam, Gabby doing a very nice, cool, calm, collected beam routine.
This is the event that the Crimson Tide needs to do well on today to contend with the Cal Bears, because this is their lowest ranked event, but they've just had their 4th hit routine.
Nicely done, and take a look at this acro series. Handspring layout, step out. Love that her arms get right to her finish and gets the stick. That's the last piece of gymnastics the judge sees, that dismount. So when you get the stick, it just means more.
Kaya Forbes now, the junior out of Gonzales, Louisiana. JoJo Valahovic, 9.725. You see that 9.725 on the right of your screen is grayed out. That's the low score, the one they would like to replace with a higher score, assuming the other athletes do better. Maya Lozan, this could be a highlight here for Cal on vault.
Yurchenko 1.5. Tiny hop on the landing, but overall a very clean and controlled vault.
Maya Lozan, one of the top all-arounders in the country, one of the most consistent gymnasts.
Her form is just beautiful. The toe point, the execution, very nicely done. Kaya round off back handspring, double tuck. Lack of control, you saw that front foot come off the floor in that finish position, showing that lack of control. Judges are looking for deductions.
And meanwhile, over on beam, Lily Hudson up for Alabama. Gabby Ladani had a 9.925, a career high in that 4th spot. So the Crimson Tide hitting well, and the scores are in their favor over there.
Nice switch leap to switch leap. Lily is part of that dynamic duo that head coach Ashley spoke to us about, and it's a pretty good dynamic duo to have at the end of your lineup. Lily Hudson and Gabby Gladio, capable of putting up big scores on every event.
Delaney Harkness on bars for Michigan State. Nikki Smith before her at a 9.825.
Lily just the dismount and a nice stuck landing. And over to bars, Delaney doing her job here. Would love to see her absorb that landing just a little bit more. Took the hop, but gorgeous form, execution, huge double layout.
Wow.
And just takes that hop on the landing.
Coming to the close of this first of 4 rotations. Kyan Mayhew will be the anchor vaulter. Maya Lozan had a 9.85. They've had no scores for Cal that have been higher than a 9.85 so far. No 9.9s yet. Oh!
And a little stumble on that landing. I was gonna say, Bart, that was a greatly executed vault, but the landing had a little bit of a stumble there.
Julia Noer. Incredible all-arounder in her career at North Carolina. Highest score so far for the Tar Heels was the leadoff competitor, Jessica Naranjo. Otherwise, all the scores have been in the 9-7 range. They need to pick it up here.
First pass, tuck full in. Beautiful job. Julia, she's a very natural leader. A great quality you want to have, especially in this anchor spot.
Today she said, our goal is to win everything. We're going to win warm-ups, we're going to win march-in, we're going to win every event, and they seem to have that focus right now.
Hey, whatever works. Gabby sticks that landing. Right here, handspring, layout 2 feet, little pike down. But caps it off, round off, double twist, holds that finish position and gets the stick.
And regardless of the score for Gabby Gladio, Alabama will lead after the first rotation. What an outstanding way to start this competition on the precarious balance beam. Delaney Harkness had a score of a 9.825. Sage Kellerman now is the final competitor for Michigan State on bars in this first rotation.
Nice single bar release. Right back down to the low bar. One thing I love about Sage is her legs are glued together. Toe point. All she's got to do is land this dismount. Not just land it, but stick it. Nicely done.
Okay, there's a little attitude. I like it.
This dismount, just gorgeous form. And this is a great look. You see her spot that landing, absorb that landing, gets the stick.
Seems like every pro athlete now has sort of a celebration dance.
Hey.
Let's all go with it, right? Did you have one?
I did not.
Bella Miller now for North Carolina on floor. Julia Noher before her. 9.825 their high score. Alabama solidly with a 49.475 will be the leader at the end of the rotation regardless of what Bella Miller gets.
Nice finish there. Front tuck step out to double tuck. Bart, one thing Dana really spoke highly of her athletes, they were working on their presentation. They're not just doing floor, they are performing floor. And you can see it from their expression, from their eyes. Bella is a true performer for this UNC team. Gorgeous double pike. Loved that finish. Really nice job for Bella Miller. Coming after Julia's 9.825. She is set up for a really nice score and had great tumbling throughout. But this double pike, just a gorgeous finish. And who doesn't love to finish with a crown?
What a first rotation. Alabama was on the beam, and they were lights out with a season high with a 49.475. They hold the lead in tonight's Elevate the Stage competition. Coming up, we'll take a look at the latest updates around the ACC. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. You're watching ACC Gymnastics. After the first rotation, Alabama just rocked the beam with a 49.475, a season-high score, and they have the lead. Hi, everybody. I'm Bart Connor, along with Bridget Sloan. And Bridget, we talked about this conference realignment and how it's changed competition and raised the quality of competition all around the country.
Well, and I think everybody was a little hesitant in the beginning. They really didn't know how it was going to look, but honestly, I think it's amazing. I think the ACC is growing. The Big Ten is growing. All of these conferences are growing. They're elevating, and they're getting better and better.
Let's focus on the ACC in terms of their standings right now. Cal was on vault in that first rotation. Scores were a little tight there, and they're trailing.
A nice vault for Maya. Love the execution, just to hop on the landing. But like you said, little tight on the judging, but nice start.
UNC was on floor in that first rotation. All-around star Julia Noer, one of their best competitors.
Julia is a leader on and off the floor. Dana had nothing but great things to say, and it proves today she's a competitor. She's a great athlete.
Here are the current ACC standings. Now, Cal has clinched the ACC championship, although tonight their competition with North Carolina is their one head-to-head. But already with their win-loss record, they have won the ACC championship. Stanford in second, NC State third, and North Carolina in fourth.
You ready?
We've got a great matchup in front of us.
This team has been so fun to watch.
Beautifully done.
Like I'm levitating sky high.
That's the momentum we're talking about.
Sunshine. Yeah, I feel
They have been unbelievable.
everybody's
Take this conference to another level.
fun with it.
The ACC Gymnastics Championship will take place on March 22nd. The 5 and 6 seed will compete in a dual meet at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, while the top 4 seeds will follow up later on at 7 Eastern right here on the ACC Network and the app. Here is our score after the first of 4 rotations. Alabama impressive on the beam where they needed to be. They have a significant lead in today's Elevate the Stage competition. Since 2015, Elevate the Stage meets have taken place here in Huntsville, Alabama, and in Toledo, Ohio, giving young gymnasts the opportunity to compete on the podium, just like their heroes. This weekend, 1,200 youth have been competing here all weekend long, and it's topped off, of course, with today's college meet, capping off a fantastic event. So here is the meet summary after the first of 4 rotations. Alabama, on the event that they're the lowest ranked in the country for themselves of the 4, they lead now by 0.4 of a point. They were terrific on beam, the scores were generous on beam, and they've taken advantage of that.
And you know what? I love to see athletes improving on events that maybe are not their strongest, especially on podium. It is a hard event, balance beam. On podium adds a little extra wobble, a little extra shake to the balance beam, but that did not affect them, and they were impressive on that event.
All right, so we go to the second rotation now. North Carolina will be on the vault. California will go to the bars. Michigan State will be on the beam, and Alabama will be on the floor. Nev King first up for North Carolina on vault.
Nev starts things off. Nice Yurchenko full. 995 start value.
And Maya Lazan leads off bars for Cal. This is one of their best events.
Slight shuffle with that left foot, but that was the biggest deduction in that routine. They focus so much on the detail. This dismount sky high. Nice job.
Maya Lazan, known for bringing the energy. She is the heartbeat of that team, without question. Gianna Khalifi now on beam for Michigan State as Jamison Sears takes to the floor for Alabama.
And Gianna is just consistent in a great leadoff.
Out of bounds for Jamison Sears on the right.
Gorgeous triple series there over on the balance beam. And Gianna, just the dismount here. Gainer full, it gets the stick. Nice start for Michigan State. Jamison over on floor. Such a powerful athlete. Great amplitude there in that double tuck. Alabama coming into the second rotation in the lead. But I talked about Jamison's power and learning to control it. Has so much there. You saw that foot go out of bounds.
Ellie King, Nev's sister now, after Nev led off North Carolina with a 9.725.
And nice job for Ellie. We're not going to see a ton of 10-0 vaults for UNC, but one thing that they've really been working on are the details, the landing. If you have to take a hop, try to minimize the size of it.
MJ Frazier coming after Maya Lozan. Led off Cal on bars with a 9.825. Scores were a bit tight on vault for Cal, and so they're trailing. But there's an opportunity on this event in particular to get back up there to challenge Alabama, who's leading by about 4/10 of a point after the first rotation.
And so far, MJ doing a fantastic job right on top of the bar in that handstand.
Nice.
And a stock double layout. Bart, that was technically perfect in my book.
Oh, yes.
Her team loves it. How can you not love a stock double layout?
Emma Missenheimer. Gianna Khalifi had a 9.875, so Michigan State off to a solid start there. Shania Adams will be up now for Alabama on floor after Jamison Sears scored only 9.675 after stepping out of bounds.
Emma over on that left side. Very nice accurate series. Bart, you mentioned Emma's coming after a 9.875 in the second spot. She sticks the dismount. I see Michigan State getting better and better with each routine. Now Shania Adams trying to get things back on track for Alabama on this event. You see Jamison Sears with a 9.675. That is going to be the score Alabama will be looking to drop.
This is one of the best events for Alabama, currently tied for 6th in the country on floor. See if they can keep the momentum after their outstanding first rotation on beam, where they had a season high. Julia Noer will be set to go on vault for North Carolina. Ellie King at a 9.75 over there. Her sister Nev, 9.725.
Julia putting up a Yurchenko full. Slight pike down, had to take a little bit of a hop, but again, a controlled landing even with the mistake of the hop. And Shania Adams finishing that floor routine.
Tonight we'll have the ACC Wrestling Championship from Cameron Indoor Stadium at Duke University. Coverage of the finals begins at 8 Eastern right here on the ACC Network and the app. Sean Kenny and 4-time NC State All-American Trent Hidlay have the call. Nikki Smith getting a few notes here before her beam. And Maya Lozan presenting a few notes for her teammate, Annalise Newman-Echi, who will be 3rd up on bars for California. Their first 2 scores, Lozan had a 9.825 and MJ Frazier 9.875.
And on bars, Bart, these judges are looking for mistakes, and the one piece that they look for are the cast handstands, the stuck landings, and the body position. Right now, Annalise is doing a fabulous job and gets the stuck landing. The judges are looking for mistakes. I don't think they're going to see a lot from Annalise there.
Little bobble for Nikki Smith on beam there. Emma Missenheimer before her 9.8 for Michigan State. After the first of 4 rotations, Michigan State was in 2nd place behind Alabama, 4/10 of a point behind. They have really been one of the most exciting teams to watch for the last few years. To see the powerful gymnastics, explosive, and the energy that they bring to the floor is something special.
This is a big dismount to round off double tuck for Nikki.
Nice.
Not afraid to do the big skills. That's one thing that Mike Rowe really honed in on with his team, that they're not afraid to take that action.
It's a good point as we look at Alabama's Chloe Lacourcier now after 9.875 for Shania Adams. Oh my goodness.
Bart, it looked like she went to step back and just, her foot got caught under her. So that is an automatic 5/10 deduction.
Now that is impact of being on the podium, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And you go back to vault.
Bart, we talked about her. We talked about her in the open. Lolly does such an amazing job of, she's got sticky feet, in my opinion. She lands and she doesn't move. Really finishing up. Front layout, a front full.
All right.
So, Alabama will have to count Jamison's 9.675. And we're going to take another look at this mistake. It's a front layout to 1.5. And you see she tried to, it almost looked like she went to take a step, but the floor actually bounced her. So, Bart, you mentioned the podium. It gives you that extra bounce, and sometimes it works against you.
Well, and it's interesting because if you know how to work with it, it can be really helpful. But otherwise, if you're not used to being on the podium, it's also difficult adjusting to those landings.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine what the beam is like in general, but how about on top of a podium?
It's challenging.
Is it actually springier?
I would say so. I'm sure there are some people that would not agree with me, but I always thought that kind of felt like you were having an earthquake sometimes when you were on podium. But the biggest thing right now,
Katie Duplessis on beam for Michigan State in place of Zarmani after she had a fall on bars.
and Bart, one thing that Mike talked a lot about for his Michigan State Spartans was the depth. They have the ability to interchange these lineups. Huge moment for Katie. Nice finish there.
Ella Cesario on bars. This long, powerful swing is impressive.
Little hop on the landing for Ella, but one thing she does so well is her technique. Blind change to Jaeger. Right down to the low bar. Leg separation in that double layout. From this angle, the judges are looking at it from the side, but other than that, just a beautiful bar swing.
Cal doing a nice job on bars in that second rotation. Jojo Valahovic now. Oh, nice.
That is a big moment for UNC. 10-0 start value. That was huge.
That was
excellent
nice
form.
technique.
And the landing, again, minimize the deductions. That was huge.
Important because Lali Dekanoidze before her had only a 9.75. So they only have one score that is 9.8 or better. That's from Julia Noer. So UNC needed that ball. Oh, and another mistake for Alabama. How is that possible? The second one in a row. Chloe Lacourcier came in with a 9.05. Now Rachel Rybicki stepped out of bounds, stumbled on the landing.
It's difficult to control your power on floor. It's even harder when you're up on podium. There's a little bit of a different bounce to the floor, and sometimes the floor will get you.
Skylar Schulte on beam now for Michigan State. Opportunity for them. They were second after the first rotation behind Alabama, who's had 2 bobbles already on floor.
Beautiful lead combination for Skyla. So Bar, another mistake for Alabama over on the floor exercise. Gorgeous handspring layout, step out. One thing Skyla does so well is she gets to her finish very quick. You'll see her stand up tall, just avoids any sort of balance break. In the dismount, such a nice job. Love to see her in this beam lineup. So fun to watch. In this acro series, handspring layout, step out. You saw her fingers actually almost touch, making sure that those arms were together and that chest was up.
Maddie Williams on bars now after a 9.85 for Ella Cesario for Cal. They haven't broken into the 9.9s here, and this is one of their best events. There you go.
I would hope that they would be able to break into the 9.9s with that routine. Another look here at this double layout. One thing Maddie does is those feet are glued together. Gorgeous form throughout.
Back to vault now. Kaya Forbes.
A huge Yurchenko full. Hop on the landing, but one thing Kaya does better than anybody on this UNC team is the block. Off the vault, she gets super high. She's got great distance from the vault. Would love to see her add a half twist later on in her career. Would love to see that be a 1.5.
High score for Carolina on vault was Jojo Valahovic's 9.875. Important moment here now for Alabama because Rachel Rybicki, her score is 9.575. You can see the grade out score of Chloe Lacourcier. That's the one they're going to have to drop. So they need 2 hit routines if they're going to hold on to the lead here at the halfway point in this competition. This is Lily Hudson and Gabriel Stephen on beam for Michigan State.
Nice job. Gabby is aggressive on beam, but she has this sense of grace that is just beautiful to watch. She's got long lines. Very nice handspring layout step out. I love this view when any of these athletes do the acro series. Bart, Gabby's coming after a 9.925 from teammate Skyla Schulte. And the dismount.
Oh, yeah.
Gorgeous.
And they finished at the same. I love these celebration dances. I got to tell you, Gabby Stephen, and what a nice rotation for Michigan State on beam.
And take a look. This is a round off double twist. Watch where her chest is when she lands. I mean, she is almost standing completely upright. Wow.
I love how you said that they really are not afraid to go for big gymnastics. You can design routines that score well but are not necessarily spectacular, but they go for big, hard stuff.
They go for the big gymnastics, and they're just not afraid, but guess what? They do it well. I mean, they really hone in on their strengths, and they just compete so well.
Casey Brown now the anchor competitor for Cal after Maddie Williams earned a 9.95 for them in the 5th spot. Oh, yeah.
Nice stuck landing for Casey. Cal having a good day on uneven bars. You see that 49.375, a strong bar score, but I know they want to up it a little bit in this dismount.
How about the throwback dismount to the good old days? You ever try that one, Sloan?
I did not.
Toe on pike front with a half. Well done for Casey Brown. So Cal will move up after the second rotation. But Gabby Stephen had a 9.95 on beam for Michigan State, 49.425, a huge score. That's a season high for them. Can Alabama still hold them off? Here's their last competitor, Gabby Gladio, after Lily Hudson got a 9.95. Remember how important this is. That low score, 9.05, is the one they're going to replace. But they will have to count a 9.575. This routine is crucial. She needs a 9.975 to stay ahead of Michigan State.
Bart, we mentioned the dynamic duo of Lily Hudson and Gabby Gladio, and this is the moment where this coaching staff, not only do they trust their athletes, but this team, they just trust each other. Even when the mistakes happen, they don't crumble. Front layout. Front 1.5 to split jump.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Coming after Lily Hudson's 9.95. Bart, this is going to be a big score. And watch this finish. This is what passion is. I mean, Gabby loves to compete. She's got passion, and man, does she do big gymnastics.
And the junior from Greensboro, North Carolina delivers. Waiting on her score. Remember, they're trying to replace that 9.05. Obviously, Gladio will get a big score. Michigan State with a 98.5. Currently in the lead. When we come back, we'll update the scores and the rotation, the score at the halfway point in the competition. Coming up, we'll take a look at the effects of conference realignment on college gymnastics when we return to Huntsville. And welcome back to the Elevate the Stage competition. We are tied at the halfway point. Both teams, Michigan State and Alabama, rocked the beam and currently have the lead at the halfway point in this competition. And everybody, I'm Bart Connor, along with my fellow Olympian Bridget Sloan. And Bridget, we've been talking a lot about conference realignment. It's still hard for me to say that, Cal and Stanford are in the ACC and UCLA is in the Big Ten, but that's what we have, isn't it?
Well, Bart, you better get used to it because they're not going anywhere. And I think this realignment has been really beneficial for these teams, for the exposure, and they're getting to see teams that they're not used to seeing during regular season.
Start with the Big Ten. Michigan State had a big year last year. They won the conference championship.
Well, this year, UCLA coming in hot, led by Jordan Childs, Brooklyn Moores, Shea Campbell, and Frida Esparza. All these athletes coming into the Big Ten and really making some noise.
Meanwhile, in the SEC, LSU dominated last year. But guess what?
Here comes Oklahoma because they have dominated this season. They are led by their senior class, Faith Torres, Jordan Bowers, Audrey Davis, and they have a very, very special freshman class this year, including one and only Lily Peterson, who has been a rock star all season long.
And in the ACC, it was NC State that hoisted the championship trophy last year. However,
Cal making some noise coming in. Maya Lazan doing what she does best. MJ Frazier, Maddie Williams. This is what I'm talking about, Bart. We're getting good gymnastics on all accounts on every conference.
And we have a lot more exciting gymnastics coming up on the ESPN family of networks. Set your calendars. March 22nd, we'll be covering all the conference championships. And then we'll be having the NCAA tournament selection show for the first time on ESPNU. Then we'll cover NCAA regionals and the national championships. You're not going to want to miss that April 17th and 19th on ESPN2 and ABC. Don't go away. We'll be proud today to be in Huntsville, Alabama, also known as Rocket City. The Marshall Space Flight Center opened here in 1960, where the Saturn V rocket was developed for use in the Apollo space program. It's also home to the Payload Operations Center for the International Space Station, supervising all research and experiments done there. Bridget, do you know, by the way, that my dad worked on the Saturn V rocket motor mounts?
I do now.
You do now, okay. Here's the halfway point in the competition. Michigan State and Alabama both hit beam exceptionally well, and that puts them in a tie with 98.5. California trails by 125 thousandths of a point. They're in third. Currently 7/10 out of the lead is North Carolina. So we're set now for the third of 4 rotations in this Elevate the Stage competition. Basically a dress rehearsal in many ways for the upcoming championship season, the postseason events. Jordan Paradise for Alabama will be on the vault. And on the bars for UNC, it's Julia Noer in a leadoff spot.
Little leg separation for Julia in that bail. Love to see those legs glued together. And Jordan on vault, nice 1.5. Julia with a nice dismount. This is a big moment for UNC on uneven bars. Does a ginger. Little leg separation, you saw those legs separate, and then the dismount. A little shuffle, but a nice overall start for Julia and UNC.
UNC 6-5 on the season. Currently 2-3 in the conference this year. Anna Durrani, their head coach, just in her 4th season. Ella Cesario now getting some notes from Liz Crandall-Howell over there on the left side of your screen from Cal, and Delaney Harkness for Michigan State on the floor on the right.
Now, Bart, these last 2 events for Michigan State, Mike Rowe was really happy that they're going to be ending on floor and vault. you know, they're show women, as he said. They love to put on a performance, so this is a huge opportunity for Michigan State to continue putting up those big scores. And Ella Cesario on balance beam. Such an elegant beam worker. So solid in this leadoff spot. Whoa. And I might have jinxed her there. Big balance check. Wow. Delaney Harkness, incredible start, and Ella Cesario finishes that beam routine with a round off 1.5.
A little nervy there for Cesario, the senior out of Illinois. She's known as one of the energy generators on that team, but a little bit shaky in that first rotation. Corinne Benagin, after Jordan Paradise led off Alabama on the vault, will be next. And on the bars, it's Nev King after Julia Noer scored 9.75.
Big vault here. Big step forward. Just had too much power there on that Yurchenko. 1.5. And over to bars.
Whoa.
Holds onto that landing. I don't think she was ready for the mat. It looked like she just, I don't know, the mat might have come a little bit too soon. Holds on to it.
Wonky there, didn't it?
Holds on to it though. It's a double tuck. Just jumps up as quick as she can, avoiding a massive deduction, but that will be a deduction for the deep squat.
North Carolina told us their goal for this meet is at 197.5. They really want to try to bring up their NQS scores. We'll talk a little bit more about that, what the goals are for each of these teams. In addition to winning today's competition, there's also sort of 4 meets going on within this meet for each of these teams to improve their standings in postseason rankings. Michaela Tucker on floor for Michigan State, Maddie Williams on the beam on the left side of your screen for Cal.
And Michaela's coming after Delaney's 9.85, so a nice start for Michigan State on floor. Beautiful connection for Maddie, front aerial to split jump. During Acro series, very nice handspring layout step out. The rhythm that Cal applies to their beam routines. They tell a story, and slight balance check there. Saw that arm swing.
Cal in the top 10 in all 4 events in terms of their national rankings.
And a stuck gainer full. A really nice job for Maddie. Just the balance checks, a couple here and there. Again, sometimes the nerves up on the podium can get the best of you, but they're ultimately doing nice, clean beam routines so far.
The Nothing But Net crew will be at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina all week for the ACC men's basketball tournament. We'll have pregame, halftime, postgame shows throughout the tourney, bringing you all the interviews, analysis, and previews you need to see. Coverage begins Tuesday afternoon at 1:30 Eastern, right here on the ACC network. Claire Stipik on bars now for North Carolina.
Nice pass handstand there. Just a dismount. Double layout. Tiny hop forward. Right now, UNC is really trying to put up a 9.8. Kind of stuck in that 9.7 right now, but this routine ends it with a nice double layout. Just a shuffle of the feet on that dismount.
You mentioned the scores are a little bit low. We've seen in general the scores have been a little bit lower. Now that's a result of several decisions in the preseason with the way the judges are re-evaluating how the routines are scored. Do you think the scoring is working out better, or is it still a work in progress?
I think it's a work in progress. I do think that, you know, it's tight. And my goal is if it's tight on one event, then they need to keep it going for all the teams competing.
It's been hard to predict how the scores were going to come out event by event this year. Last year they were all a little bit high, but we kind of knew where everything was going to be. Now I think the judges are trying to use a little more discernment to separate the good teams from the great teams, but there has been very little consistency with those scores. MJ Frazier on beam for Cal and Ella Beaufait on floor for Michigan State.
Ella coming after a pair at 9.85, so very consistent on floor for Michigan State. And MJ Frazier doing what MJ does best, which is just cool, calm gymnastics. Maddie Williams got him back on track, 9.85. And the dismount, ooh, 2 steps there. You know that she wanted to stick that dismount. But this connection, front aerial to layout step out, just right over the top. And this is a cartwheel into her 1.5 twist. Would love to see her chest actually a little bit higher on that landing to help avoid any of those steps.
MJ was 3rd last year at the NCAA championships in all around. We're going back now to vault. Paris German for Alabama.
Little stumble on these vault landings for Alabama. They're getting great height, great distance from the vault, but just a little stumbly on the landings. And on bars, Gwen Fink for UNC, doing a great job. Beautiful form. Toes pointed, dismount. And that was a very high double layout, almost over-rotated that. And right here, her single bar release. You saw her arms bend on that catch. She just hung on a little too late. And then the double layout, huge double layout, a little too much power and momentum there, but controls that landing as best she can.
MJ Frazier's score on beam was a 9.85 after Maddie Williams' 9.85. Abby Scanlon now for Cal on the left, and Gabby Stephen for Michigan State on the right. Ella Beaufait had only a 9.675 for the Spartans on floor. So an important routine here, especially for Gabby Stephen.
And floor is an event for Michigan State. They're really working on their body positions. You're gonna see them land and that chest is gonna be high. The leaps are gonna be in that 180-degree split. They had such an amazing season in 2024, and they've really just kept that momentum going.
We're disappointed it did not end as they had hoped. They did not do well in the regional competition and did not qualify for the national championships. Their best finish in their program history is 9th. Last year they dropped to 14th, but they have all returners except one this year. So things are looking good for Michigan State.
And the front handspring, double twist, very nice finish.
Mentioned the score they're trying to replace is Ella Beaufait's 9.675. She stepped out of bounds on floor in the previous routine before Stephen. Gabby Gladio now finishing her vault. 9.85 was Karis German's score for Alabama. So Alabama doing quite well on vault. Remember, they are tied for first with this team, Michigan State, at the second after 2 rotations, the halfway point in this competition. Cal, the top ranked team coming into this competition, trailing them by a little over 1/10 of a point. Cal on the beam had a big score in the last competitor with Abby Scanlon, had a 9-9. So California has a chance to put themselves back on top if they can continue hitting here. Isabel Schaefer on bars for North Carolina.
And Isabel is a beautiful bar worker. Short on that bail, you saw those hips over the bar, not in that vertical position. Just like that though, holds that last handstand and gets the stick. Very nice job for Isabel.
See, Amaya Lozanne's average is over 9.9 on beam. She leads the conference.
Maya gearing up for her acro series here. Fabulous job. Handspring, layout, step out.
Tied for third on beam at the NCAA championship last year. Meanwhile, Nikki Smith on floor for Michigan State. Gabby Stephen had a 9.9.
And Maya just the dismount here. So far, so good with this beam routine. Round off, double twist.
Boy, that just floats out of the sky, doesn't it? Beautiful.
Gorgeous double twist. But this triple series here, back handspring, layout, step out.
And you see Liz Crandall Howell herself, former U.S. national team member and husband of Justin Howell, the husband and wife coaching team there. She's responsible for their great work on beam, and they are spectacular there. Nikki Smith on the floor coming after Gabby Stephen had a season-high 9.9. Lily Hudson for Alabama on vault.
Lily had some trouble in warm-up, but no issue when it counts. Lily is such a competitor. Nice finish for Nikki Smith. Floor is such an amazing event for athletes to really show some personality, have some fun, but Michigan State takes it up a level. I mean, their performance is just out of this world, in my opinion. Big tumbling, and just so fun to watch.
All right, this meet's getting extremely close because California has been performing exceptionally well over on beam. Last 2 athletes there were 9.9 or better. North Carolina on bars after Isabel Schaefer had a 9.825. This is their anchor competitor, Lali Lekanoidze, as Ondine Achampong, British Olympian, competing now for Cal in that anchor spot.
Just the dismount for Lali. In a stuck double layout. And over to balance beam.
Achampong was in the running for a spot on that British Olympic team, hurt her knee at the Olympic trials. Unfortunately, was not able to compete at the games in Paris, but she's had a lot of success internationally.
And I love that she brings that international flair to her artistry, to her gymnastics. And sticks the dismount. Beam for Cal, I mean, they were on it today. This was an amazing event for them. Take it back to this acro series. Gorgeous handspring layout, step out, just so fluid.
Her mother was a ballet dancer. You can see where that comes from. But California very happy with their team performance on beam. We do not yet have the score for Achampong, but expect that the team score will be spectacular for California on one of their best events. Alabama, Lily Hudson in that last vault for Alabama had a 9.925. That ties a season high for her. Just finishing up on a judges conference on 4. Judges confer when they are too far apart on their scores. Perhaps they didn't calibrate the same difficulty value for execution deductions. Score now is in. For Nikki Smith, it's a 9.825. Remember, because Elle Beaufait had a step out of bounds at 9.675 for Michigan State, you see that's grayed out. That's the score they're going to replace, hopefully. And Skyla Schulte is the person to do it.
Skyla, one of the team captains for Michigan State. Has some big tumbling here. Opens up, tuck full in. Right to that finish. And Bar, this is a fun routine. Dynamic jumps. Again, Michigan State, they're not afraid to risk and take that risk with big tumbling. Gorgeous front through to double tuck. Right now they're looking to drop that 9.675.
Okay, now Michigan State will pass Alabama if this score is 9.875 or higher for Skyla Schulte. What do you think?
I mean, this first pass, tuck full in. Love that she gets to her finish position so quick. And look at this last pass and the reaction from her team and head coach Mike Rowe. I think he was a little nervous when she first went for it, but what a finish for Skyla Schulte.
Mike Rowe proud of his team. They were spectacular on one of their best events. He told us earlier he's excited to finish on floor and vault because those are the events where they particularly shine. That wraps up the third of 4 rotations here in Huntsville.
Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds.
Yeah, you got me.
All right, when we come back, we'll have highlights from the first 3 rotations here at the Elevate the Stage quad meet. The gymnasts are flying high. Don't go anywhere. In Huntsville, Alabama, we have a great one here. Top 3 teams separated by 1/10 of a point. Michigan State has the lead, Alabama second, California in third, and North Carolina trails by a point. Take a look at some of the highlights. Cal was great on the bars as always, Bridget.
This is an event that always impresses me from Cal. Their execution, they're detail-oriented. And this bar routine from Maddie Williams, you see it was a 9.95. Well-deserved, just a gorgeous bar worker.
They were about a half a point out of this after the first rotation, but they've worked their way into a contention for the championship today.
And Lali Dekanoidze, I mean, she's outstanding on bars, finishes that bar routine with a stick.
Talk about NQSs, that's basically their national qualifying score. The current score for these teams for Cal and UNC are on your screen there. If you went and added their season average, these are the scores that they would get in a projected total, which for both of these teams would be a little bit of an improvement for their postseason qualification. Let's take a look at Michigan State over at Beam and what's at stake for them.
And this is an event that tends to give teams some trouble, but Michigan State really owned their gymnastics. The pressure was on and there was no effect. Gabby Steven with a gorgeous 9.95, huge score.
Alabama great on beam as well.
Again, these events, balance beam is the hardest event in gymnastics. They had a season high 49.475 on this event. Lily Hudson making her mark, followed by Gabby Gladio with the stuck dismount.
Let's take a look at the comparisons there. The projected total for Michigan State, if they just do average on the fourth and final event, will improve their NQS score for postseason. And for Alabama, their projected total will be significant improvement for Alabama in their postseason chances. Top 36 teams in the country qualify for the postseason, and they're all vying for positions, rankings, and seedings right now. Coming up, the fourth and final rotation when we come back to Huntsville. Huntsville is one of the largest space museums in the world. It opened in 1970 after the first moon landing and has over 1,500 rockets and space artifacts, including a mock-up of the Saturn V rocket and the Apollo 16 capsule. It's worth a trip down to Huntsville, Alabama to see that amazing historic stuff. All right, ACC Gymnastics. We got a great one here, folks. 3 teams separated by just .05. That's 5/100ths of a point. Right now, Michigan State has a slight lead over California and Alabama. This is a close one. In the all-around today, Lily Hudson has the lead, and you see the other contenders. Of course, in college gymnastics, it's pretty much all about the team, but there's also an internal battle going on who's the best all-around gymnast, meaning the athlete that competes on all 4 events. Now, Michigan State moves to the vault in the fourth and final rotation. They're our leaders.
Little under rotation on that Yurchenko 1.5.
It's important to note that scores at vault have been a little bit lower today for all the teams. So we'll see if that holds up here with Michigan State in that final rotation. As Alabama is on the bars, Gabby Gladio leading them off.
Line change, full pirouette, double tuck, and gets the stick. Right now, heading into this rotation, they are tied with Cal. So both Cal and Alabama ending on good events for both teams.
Jessica Naranjo on beam for North Carolina. Kyan Mayhew leading off Cal on floor.
Jessica, so far so good with this beam routine. Little under rotation on that dismount. You saw her take the step backwards, but a nice clean start for UNC on balance beam. Kyan having some fun on floor. Round up 1.5, front half to a double stack jump. And a nice start for Cal on floor exercise.
Remember, these teams are all separated by 5/100ths of a point, except North Carolina is trailing a bit. California, the top-ranked team coming into today's competition. They're currently ranked 6th in the country. Last year, they were the NCAA runner-up to LSU. Here's Amy Doyle now for the leaders, Michigan State, on vault. Oh!
Just under-rotates that vault. Normally gets so much power. Ultimately, vault is a great event for Michigan State.
Lily Hudson now on bars for Alabama. Gabby Gladio led them off with a strong 9-8.
Good build a handstand there. Nice strong final cast handstand for Lily in the dismount. Hop on the landing, but strong overall. Lily is a great bar swinger.
Every landing is going to matter coming down to this final rotation. Remember, these teams are separated by less than 1/10 of a point, and a step on a landing is 1/10 of a point. So every dismount will matter coming down the final stretch here. Michigan State on vault over there at a 9.75 and a 9.65. So scores have been tight for Michigan State. And remember, they were the leaders coming in to this fourth and final rotation. As JoJo Valahovic for North Carolina goes on the beam after Jessica Naranjo had only a 9.55. Big opportunity here on floor for Jordan Kane in California because Kyan Mayhew led them off with a 9.825.
JoJo, one of those athletes that she makes gymnastics look easy. Little body position break on that finish. Very nice leap series there. Switch leap to switch half into her beat jump. Just the dismount for JoJo. Round off 1.5, gets the stick. Biggest mistake in that routine was just the break after her series. Just a little body position. Final pass for Jordan coming after time, 9.825. So a strong start for Cal.
For Michigan State on ball, here's Olivia Zarmani.
A nice ball, a clean finish, but you saw that step to the side. And Bart, that was a pretty significant step. Olivia's job really to get them back on track. They kind of fumbled with those first two vaults. You see great form throughout and just takes that step to the side.
She steps over that white line, which is there just as a guideline for the judges to keep track of how in line with the vault table the gymnasts are. That will incur a deduction. So scores down for Michigan State on vault. Remember, they are our leader, but they are squandering their lead to Cal and Alabama in this fourth and final rotation. Peyton Walker up now after Lily Hudson had a 9.725.
Ended up doing 2 hops on that landing. Has such a difficult bar routine. Right here, she's gonna do an in-bar ginger, is a little bit close. You saw those arms bend when she caught. And does a nice job on the dismount, but again, takes 2 hops, so that is 2 attempts right there.
Peyton Walker, a freshman out of California, some of those little hops, perhaps because of the podium as well as being among the least experienced there. Nev King coming after JoJo Valahovic had a 9.85. Important routine here for California because Jordan Kane only had a 9.7 for California on floor. Maddie Williams up now. Their high score over there so far, 9.825. This is one of Cal's best events, so They could win it here if they can stay solid on floor in this fourth and final rotation.
Front layout to front 1.5. Nice height for Maddie on that first pass. She can really spot the landing there. Double wolf turn there. One of the requirements of the turn and of the dance, you're going to see a lot of these athletes doing a little bit harder dance elements, especially with the two-pass routines, which, Bart, we're seeing more and more athletes do the two-pass routine.
Explain the benefit and why a coach might make a choice of making a two-pass routine versus three as Nikki Smith gets ready to go on ball.
Honestly, I think it just has to do with keeping your body healthy. I mean, it's a little bit easier on the body, especially when you are competing every single weekend. It is so important to keep these athletes healthy.
Several of the teams, in fact, have double weekend competitions. Cal, next week, they're going to have a Friday and a Sunday meet because that's how it is in the postseason. You have the semifinals and then a day off and then the championship. So most of these teams that are contending for that national title, they want that experience not only on the podium like we're seeing today, but also 2 meets with a day off in between, because that's how it's going to feel at nationals.
Yep.
Did you all do the same thing at Florida when you were there?
No.
Well, you guys did pretty well.
We did not do a lot of double weekends. I don't think we did a single one. But Chloe LaCourciere on bars. Nice Van Leeuwen. And the dismount. Gets the stick. You know, Bart, she didn't have the best floor routine for Chloe. Not what she wanted, but man, an athlete that sticks to it, doesn't give up. Gorgeous form. And this Van Leeuwen, Maloney with a half. Very smooth bar swinger.
Julia Nauer. Nev King before her, a 9.75.
Beautiful acro series, handspring layout step out, right over the top of the beam.
Ella Cesario now on floor for California.
Ella starts things off, first pass. Huge tuck pull in. She might have one of the most graceful tuck pull ins. Coming in, and Julia got to finish this beam routine. Nice round up 1.5. Julia really had a great day all around. Put up some big scores and did some nice routines.
I think I mentioned earlier that Ella Cesario from California, known as one of the energy generators on the team. Liz Crandall Howell says you can't not have fun when you're around her. Pulls in the crowd with that energy. Gabby Stevens set to go for Michigan State on ball.
Bart, we said that floor was crucial for Cal, and they are not backing down. Gabby on vault. Huge Yurchenko, 1.5.
The last two vaulters were pretty strong over there. Zarmani had a 9.85, Nikki Smith a 9.875. So with the scores that have been typically tight on vault, Michigan State scoring well in this final rotation there. Will it be enough?
on bars. Ryan Fuller coming after Chloe's 9.925, so a big score for Alabama. She's gonna go right back up to the high bar. Another Van Leeuwen. Maloney with the half and just the dismount. And gets the stick. Really nice job for Ryan. Great body position throughout that routine.
Alabama start to finish today has done quite well with an awesome start on beam. Finishing strong now on the bars.
Gwen Fink for UNC Acro Series. Oh, stays on the beam, but that was a big balance break. Difficult series there. Handspring, layout, step out, layout, step out.
You don't often see these triple series in college gymnastics, do you?
Oh, and another balance break on that full turn. Right now, Gwen just needs to get it back. Dana spoke so highly of just how steady she is and confident in herself. Finishes nice with that gainer full off the side, but two pretty significant balance breaks in that floor beam routine.
MJ Frazier for California on floor after Ella Cesario had a 9.875.
Big E pass, double layout.
You mentioned an E pass, skills are rated A to E, A being the easiest, E being the most difficult, and therefore getting the most bonus points. Sage Kellerman, this is a big vault for Michigan State on the left.
Huge pike.
Oh, wow, I love that.
I mean,
That
I
was
didn't want to
amazing.
say that she was going to stick it, but she is the queen of sticking that vault.
Kellerman, if she gets a 9.975, it would ensure them finishing ahead of Alabama. But this meet is far from over, but that's about as well as you can do it.
That was incredible.
Gabby Stephen before her had a 9.9. Michigan State has done a nice job. MJ Frazier finishing up on floor. The combination tumbling pass.
Excellent finish for MJ Frazier. Some really nice scores for Cal over on floor. Haven't broken into that 9.9 yet, but with MJ and Maya still to go.
And it's a 9.95 for Michigan State. Sage Kellerman on vault. That's the high score of the day over there. Means Michigan State will finish with a 197.15.
And this is Reagan McBride for UNC on balance beam.
And Shania Adams on bars. Alabama needs a 10 with this performance on bars to match Michigan State in this. Oh no.
And just falls over on that cast handstand.
Oh.
And just can't get it back.
Shania Adams, a huge missed opportunity there after Ryan Fuller had an incredible 9.925, as well as Chloe LaCourcier. Reagan McBride finishing up all the scores for North Carolina in that 9.7 to 9.8 range, except Naranjo's 9.55. So North Carolina not finishing off as strong as they would like to have. And a disappointment here for Shania Adams, because that means that Alabama will drop whatever her score is. Remember, these three teams were separated by 5/100ths of a point.
So just to take a look, she was over on that cast handstand, tried to get it back, and unfortunately she turned really early, and you saw those legs go over the bar on the opposite side. Once that happens, it's hard to get it back, and she just wasn't able to get that handstand.
Okay, MJ Frazier had a well-deserved 9.925. That's a tie for her season high on floor. Maya Lozan, can she win it for California right here? 9.925 or more will win it for California. Michigan State currently the team leaders with 197.15. Lozan is certainly capable of that kind of score.
Gorgeous front double twist to punch front. Just floats through the air. Beautiful leap combination. Her extension and just attention to the detail from her fingertips all the way to her toe point.
Last year's fourth place finisher in the NCAA and the all-around ACC Gymnast of the Week this week.
Final pass.
Oh, yes.
1.5 to front full.
Nice. Hard not to get pulled into the joy and the energy that she exudes on floor. Maya Lozan, the senior, did she get enough for California to win this meet and go undefeated in the ACC in their first season in the new conference for them?
I mean, she opens up with a beautiful front double twist to punch front and finishes 1.5 to front full, sticks it, and then dances out. I mean, it was gorgeous.
Liz.
It was just so artistically beautiful and powerful tumbling.
Liz Crandall-Howell told us earlier in the week they were really focused on sticking landing, sticking on everything, on the tumble track, on an air track, on a springboard, because they knew that at the championship level, the teams are so equally matched, it will come down to details, as you mentioned. Justin Howell, the co-head coach, along with his wife, Elizabeth Crandall-Howell. It appears there's an inquiry on the floor score. Score posted for Maya Lozan, a 9.95. I think we're going to give these judges time to work it out. We'll take a quick break and give the final results. But a great day of gymnastics here from Huntsville. What a thrilling fourth and final rotation. We'll be back with the winners when we come back. And we're back at Elevate the Stage. What a fourth and final rotation. There is no change in the score after that inquiry, and the California Bears with a strong 197.2 get the win today by 5/100ths of a point over Michigan State. And are they thrilled, because not only do they continue their leadership in the ACC, but they end up going undefeated against all ACC teams this year in their first year in the conference. I'm Bart Connor, along with Bridget Sloan. We had some highs and lows today, didn't we, Bridget?
It was a wild day. I mean, Bart, you said at the very beginning, it's going to come down to the last routine, the last dismount. We really didn't know what was going to happen after every single event and every rotation, but I have to give these teams credit. They never let up. They never gave up, and that's what it takes.
And, of course, all these teams have great stars. Let's point out a couple of here impact for California and Michigan State. Gabby Stephen in the all-around was outstanding today.
Gabby is an athlete she's incredible in my eyes. I love the way that she focuses in on her landings. Every single dismount she did today, Bart, she was almost standing completely straight. She's got power. She's so graceful in her movements, and she flies.
And for California, of course, Maya Lozan was just magical, as she always is.
starting things off on vault for her. Beautiful form throughout. She is one of the most technically perfect athletes for me. Not afraid to do the big, challenging skills, triple series there, and then ended her day with a gorgeous floor routine, clinching the win for Cal.
Oh, we had a great day of gymnastics here. Here is the meet summary. California wins by 5/100ths of a point. They won it on the final rotation. See the tie for the all-around between Gabby Stephen and Maya Lozan. Gabby Gladio, 995 on floor. That's her sixth score of 995 or better. And for North Carolina, it was Lali Dekanoidze, 99 on bars. And she's been a leader for that program for a long time. As they get ready to present the awards, the team sitting on the floor, California has won the ACC regular season title. Well, let's take a look at how these teams did based on their metrics, because not only are we looking at a quad meet today, but we're looking at the scores that these teams earned and how it affects their postseason. The score to beat for California was a 197.05, and today they got a 197.2, so they'll improve. For Michigan State, their score to beat was a 196.8, and they did the same, as well as Alabama and North Carolina. So North Carolina was the only team that was a little bit short of their goal, but 3 of the 4 teams improving their rankings and seeding as they head into the postseason. Bridget, your final thoughts on today's gymnastics. We saw conference realignment. Everything's a bit different. Judging is a little bit wacky, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to quality gymnastics, and that paid off for California.
And what impressed me the most is, like we said in the beginning, this was a dress rehearsal for the postseason. It's a great opportunity for these athletes to get up on the podium, get that excitement out, because once postseason comes, that is when the magic is going to happen.
It sure is. And California last year was second in the NCAA championships to LSU, and they'll be in the hunt again. Who could it be? Oklahoma, LSU, California, as we look to the postseason. Well, thanks for joining, because it was a great day of gymnastics here in Huntsville, Alabama. Our final score, California gets the win with a 197.2. The ACC championship will be Saturday, March 22nd at 2:30 and 7 p.m. Eastern right here on the ACC network. For Bridget Sloan and our